The state of the 3DS Pokemon era in its final days was absolutely fucking abhorrent. Also, yes, I know the background, it's weird, it's tacky, but bear with me, I needed something to put in the background. As of April 8th, 2024, the servers for both the Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo Wii U have shut down, and with them goes the online functionality for both Gen 6 and 7 Pokemon games. At first, this may sound sad, but when you see the state that these games were left in, honestly, it's probably for the best that they got shut down when they did. From a completely dead battle scene to horny niggas being freaked out on the PSS, I aim to document all of the absolute degeneracy that went on during the final months of Pokemon 3DS Online's time. Starting off with the least offensive and probably the most understandable segment, the battle spot is completely fucking dead. What was once a live, thriving part of the game ended its lifetime as a dying husk of what it once was. This is completely understandable considering the fact that generally the most current generation is the one that houses all of the battles on the system, and considering the fact that we've been on the Switch now for Jesus Christ, almost 5 years, it makes sense that the 3DS battle scene would be pretty much completely dead. It also doesn't help that Pokemon Showdown exists. Why would you spend potentially weeks of your time making a team to go fight on Battle Spot and end up running into no opponents, when you could go on Pokemon Showdown and spend like 20 minutes making your team with a much higher likelihood of actually running into a person? And even if you don't, there was so little time that went into making the team that it doesn't even matter in the first place. Now, this is obviously kind of an oversimplification, but you get the point. You know it's bad when you're seeing searching for an opposing trainer longer than you are the raid board after you fail to join a raid in Scarlet and Violet, just to be let down at the end anyways. I mean, listen to how happy this guy was just to find one battle. Really, that says it all.
Oh, well, you know what? It's fine. I knew we were gonna lose, but as long as I was able just to capture a battle, this makes me more than like happy, guys. Like just being able to live this with you guys.
PSS is often regarded as the best online functionality that the Pokemon series has ever seen, and rightfully so. It has a simple, easy to understand interface, and on top of that, it's pretty customizable with a plethora of avatars available for you to use, one of them being a replica of your character that copies your customizations and makes it even more personalized than it would have been normally. They even have shoutouts, which we will be getting back to in a bit, that serve as a nice little way to wrap up all of the customization and make it as personalized as it can be for something so simple. At least that's what the intended purpose was. This, coupled with the fact that the PSS actually fucking works, it's pretty understandable why it's so highly regarded, and apart from Mega Evolutions, might be the most memorable thing about X and Y for a lot of people. I can't say when exactly this shift happened, as I don't actually own a 3DS anymore, so I haven't been able to keep up super consistently with it, but as time went on, the PSS messages started to get a little bit weirder. You still have the people begging for shinies and legendaries and all that, but there was an influx of niggas who were just posting like the most weird and deranged shit on a user interface that was meant to be seen primarily by children. Looking for horny guys. Wow, this is definitely not helping the Pokemon players beat the pedo allegations. I'm gonna bust, ah! See, bro, this is how you know that these guys are toddlers. This dude couldn't even spell schlong right. We need to hook this guy up with Miss Alexis. I just came, blood. There are probably many more examples of freaked out activity like this that I just couldn't document because I either didn't have the resources at the time or I didn't have them sent to me. I don't want to sound like that guy, you know, oh, think of the children, because like in most scenarios, I don't give a fuck about the children, but like, come on guys, this was meant to be looked at by like 9-year-old kids, bro. What are we doing? To cap this section off, the Wonder Trading was kind of dead. It wasn't completely dead. It was nowhere near as inactive as Battle Spot was. It still had a pretty decently active scene, but compared to its highs back in like, as long as the 3DS was the main console, Wonder Trade was popping. But for a while, it was kind of dying down. Never back in the peak of Gen 6 would you see we couldn't find a trading partner for you, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's still kind of sad to see that it got to that point, even if it is understandable. That wasn't exactly the best way to end this segment, so fuck, I don't know. Drake Slong is coming after you. Real quick, before I get into this, I'd like to point out that while for the most part I was talking about Gen 6 online, because let's be real, who the fuck was still playing Gen 7 online after that wasn't the current generation, I'm going to be talking about them individually here. This is because they're on similar yet different levels of being absolutely fucked. The GTS has never been a perfect or even somewhat reliable method of trading Pokemon between users, but once Pokemon made the jump to the Switch, things took an absolute nosedive. Hacking had always been a very prominent issue with the GTS, but after a while it would get so bad to the point where you were more likely to find a hacked Pokemon than you were a legitimate one. There would just be swarms of these degenerate, scumbag, freakazoid, socially outcasted losers uploading their hacked Pokemon, promoting either an Instagram or Snapchat page, their Discord, or whatever it may be. For what reason? I don't know, I guess to get clout, but I can't imagine that that would be very effective doing that on Pokemon. And if it was effective, why would you want clout from people who probably aren't gonna like you because you're fucking with their game, posting your hacked Pokemon? My friend Blueberry, who by the way, huge shout out to, she's been a huge help with this, made a video on this guy called Adventure Snivy, and he perfectly exemplifies the issue with the GTS. What this guy would do is he would flood the GTS with his hacked trades, sending out either impossible to trade Pokemon, or Pokemon that when you actually could trade them would just end up crashing your game. And this is just one person. There are so many people like this who do that, and I honestly have no idea what they get out of it. You don't even know when people are trading for your Pokemon because it doesn't tell you if they never complete the trade, so what's the point? And there were just dozens of these motherfuckers flooding every page with their hacked stuff, taunting players with their tantalizing trades of super rare Pokemon for, again, seemingly no reason other than to like promote something. Or wait, hold on a second. Well, this isn't very nice, is it? While all of this may seem bad, and that's because it is, it's nowhere near as bad as Generation 7. KevDog made videos discussing both Gen 6 and 7 GTS, and while he pointed out the fact that there is some unfortunate stuff that you can see on the GTS and Gen 6, what happens on Gen 7 is a lot worse, in my opinion. Because Gen 6, yeah, you could have ended up stumbling upon a slur as like a 6-year-old kid and maybe getting in trouble for asking what that meant or something like that. But at the very least, you could still continue to play the game. On Gen 7, the hacker issue on GTS was so bad that it could actually just fucking crash your system. If you didn't have a modded console, you couldn't even scroll freely on Gen 7 GTS without there being a risk of your game just crashing outright.
Wait a second. I just froze. Okay, I tried to press this button to move to the right and go over to this girl trainer right here, and I completely froze. Just applied a patch to my game that fixes the freezing issue. If you want to do this yourself, I'll leave the link down in the description below for how to do it. Just know you need a modded system though, so that kind of sucks.
The hacked trade issue was still very much prominent, but it was even worse in Gen 7 because if you did manage to get into the trade screen, once it crashed, you would be locked out of trading for an undisclosed amount of time.
Mention screen, that means it might go through. Oh no, a communication error occurred. Please press the power button and end the game. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, well, it looks like we're gonna have to boot the game back up, and this is an issue that was present in Pokemon X and Y as well. Somehow, people are able to upload Pokemon where if you try to complete the trade with them, you will just end up crashing and have to restart your game. It's so stupid. What? You can't have a link trade or trade at the GTS because your previous link trade or trade at the GTS was interrupted due to a communication error or power interruption. You're telling me the game is punishing me for that happening, I didn't do anything wrong. That person hacked the GTS.
This could be worked around if you had multiple copies of a Gen 7 game, but that shouldn't be an issue in the first place, and the fact that it was is completely ridiculous. It's super negligent on Nintendo's part. Sure, I'm assuming that they didn't expect there to be so many hackers on the GTS, but like, not having some sort of workaround for that is fucking stupid. The discontinuation of the online services for the Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo Wii U are very bittersweet. It's unfortunate that I'll never be able to play online in my favorite Pokemon game again, even though I never really did that much to begin with, but having the option to was nice. However, seeing the absolute ruin that this game was left in its final days, and Sun and Moon especially so, it's honestly kind of hard to feel sad about them being shut down when that's what they were like in their final days. Some parting words before I go. I just came, blood.